It's actually happening. And folks, we have some massive updates that just dropped surrounding the Steelers' plan at quarterback as Art Rooney has just not only revealed the truth behind why he hired Mike McCarthy, but he also revealed the truth going forward surrounding their quarterback position and Mike McCarthy's plan on that front. And folks, it has fans fired up. But to break down exactly what Art Rooney said and also discuss what this means going forward as this changes, quite frankly, everything surrounding this team. And there is a lot of comments, and we finally have clarity on why he actually hired Mike McCarthy, as well as a ton of other things on this episode, folks. Before we get into it, I want to quickly thank you for all your guys' support. You've been absolute beasts, and it means the world to me. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to go over today, and let's dive right into it. So you can see this right here, and this is from Nick Farabaugh. We have a ton of quotes to go over today. We have a ton of things in general, but I want to start with this. Steelers president Art Rooney says, to Bob Labriola of Steelers.com, and he interviewed Art Rooney, that Mike McCarthy thinks that Will Howard has tremendous upside. He likes Will Howard. He thinks Will has tremendous upside and is looking forward to working with him. Now, I had a video yesterday about how there was some rumbling, some reporting that Mike McCarthy really, really likes Will Howard, and it seems like it's actually happening because Art Rooney has come out now and confirmed that not only are those rumors and that speculation true, but there's a very, very good chance that it's actually happening and that Will Howard is going to be their QB1 heading in to next season. We're also going to break down, of course, he had some comments about Aaron Rodgers, comments about why he signed Mike McCarthy in the first place, or rather hired him. But quickly, and you're going to want to stay tuned for all this, before we get into it, a quick reminder, this video is brought to you by Kalshi, and if you download it using the link below and enter code DIGESTNFL, you get $20 when you trade your first 100. And Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States. We're on their platform. You can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, elections, news, pretty much everything, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, pretty much everything, whether you're in California, Texas, or anywhere else across the country. Kalshi is live in all 50 states. And for us sports fans out there, you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. And with the Rams losing yesterday, they're officially out, but you can trade on the Super Bowl. And if you put, as of right now, $100 on the Seattle Seahawks, you'll win $150. Of course, the odds will be changing. But folks, it is genuinely a smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge. Make sure to go down below and use code DIGESTNFL to get your $20 bonus. And let me know who you're trading on in the Super Bowl. Now, folks, let's get back into the news here and let's dive right into it, right? Because there's a lot of stuff. Now, let's start with the full quote here. You can see, wow, pretty expensive quote from Art Rooney. And of course, around Mike McCarthy's thoughts on the Steelers quarterback. Says the former 6th-round pick has tremendous upside. And he says he likes Will, thinks Will, has tremendous upside, like I just mentioned. Obviously feels like Mason can be a contributor, and we'll have to sit down and discuss where Aaron is, if he decides to come back, and whether that all makes sense. I think Mike was very comfortable with the quarterback room and the possibilities with the quarterback room. In particular, the fact we have a young quarterback on the roster in whom he sees upside. And of course, I'm hoping that they at least look externally as well outside of Aaron Rodgers. Like, there are a lot of, and we just saw Sam Darnold, somebody who was overlooked for a while, lead the Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl. And now, of course, you can talk about Mac Jones. You can talk about a lot of different guys. Will the Steelers try to find their next Sam Darnold, their next, guy who's going to come up and be, maybe overlooked by a lot of teams and can lead a team to a, Super Bowl? Maybe. But Will Howard it's a very interesting option, and it's clear that Mike McCarthy loves Will Howard, and this is not the first time. Again, I had a full video covering it yesterday, but now these are brand new comments that have dropped, and it makes things interesting because now I'm not going to read this entire huge, massive blob of text. Feel free to pause and read if you want, but he basically goes on to say surrounding why they brought in Mike McCarthy and, things with Will Howard. We decided to bring on Mike because we believe that he's the right coach for them to basically lead to a championship. It goes on to say they don't know what's happening with Aaron Rodgers, and in the next month or so, they'll figure out their quarterback position, specifically surrounding Aaron Rodgers. And he hesitates to say that there's a number one, and of course, maybe high on the list after that is someone who can develop a quarterback. So clearly, it was about developing a quarterback. And the more you look at things, they want to, Aaron Rodgers or not, they want to develop a young quarterback. And if there's one thing about this move that I somewhat like, Mike McCarthy, and if you've been watching the channel, you've been watching the video, or if you're a new viewer, I hate the Mike McCarthy signing, right? Or hire. I don't think it makes a ton of sense, really any sense. But if there is a piece of sense that you can make from it, he is good at developing quarterbacks and getting the most out of his quarterbacks. He helped Dak Prescott become a very good quarterback. Of course, his time in Green Bay, he helped. Yeah, I could say he helped Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best of all time. But his offense is good, and that's something the Steelers needed help in. but I still don't think it was the right hire, especially now in hindsight. They could have just waited 30 hours or so and gotten an interview with Chris Shula or Nate Scheelhaase, which I'll have a video on later today. Keep an eye out, or tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. But Art Rooney, he basically goes on to say he's someone who has a longer track record than many of the other candidates. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. Probably just as important for our purposes, the quarterbacks that he's worked with have all been successful. A proven track record of developing top flight quarterbacks. And yes, he likes Will Howard. So there seems to be an infatuation here for Will Howard, which, you can see it to a degree. He had 4,000 yards in college, of course, in Ohio State, where, our former OC, Arthur Smith, is now going to be taking over as the offensive coordinator. And congrats to him for that. I'm happy he's out of Pittsburgh, though. It is 4,000 yards. Like, what can Will Howard do well? He obviously can play well in the pocket. Is he going to run the ball a lot? No, but I'm curious to see if they go with Will Howard. Personally, and let me know down below if you think this is a crazy take, I would rather them give Will Howard a shot than run Mason Rudolph, because it is crazy, right? It's a 6th-round pick, all these things. We've seen some quarterbacks in the past. I just want to see something different. And I do think Mike McCarthy, if he sees a lot of value in Will Howard, let's run it. Let's try it right now. I do think there are other better options. Like if it's between Will Howard, Mason Rudolph has a higher floor for sure. But obviously Will Howard naturally has a higher ceiling. We kind of know what Mason Rudolph is at this point. I would like to see them go out and get some other guys. Maybe look at Kyler Murray, someone who's been overlooked in Arizona. I don't think he's necessarily a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but the offensive coordinators, Drew Petzing out there in Arizona was awful. A lot of awful coaching over there. It's going to be exciting to see, because at the end of the day here, if Aaron Rodgers, and Art Rooney does give a little bit of insight into the Aaron Rodgers stuff, it's clear they're looking into Aaron Rodgers, and that would be a nightmare scenario for me, but they like Will Howard. So I don't know. And he also does mention that he hesitates to say who's the number one quarterback. And then, of course, and since sooner or later we're going to be working with a young quarterback here, I think Mike's ability to develop the next QB is something that's important. Let me know down below your thoughts on the Will Howard stuff. Do you want them to pursue Will Howard as the number one quarterback? Would you rather them bring Aaron Rodgers back, see if they can develop some magic? I just want them to bring in entirely a new staff, figure out what you have here, and like Aaron Rodgers is a Band-Aid for next year. I don't think you're capable of winning a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback unless you get really, really good pieces around him. But I don't know if the Steelers are going to go out and upgrade their offense enough for that. And then you look at all the wide receivers. I don't think it's good enough. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. But we do have some other stuff. So obviously, Art Rooney came out and revealed that they hired Mike McCarthy because of his ability to develop quarterbacks and his experience. But Art Rooney spoke out on the negative feedback from fans. He said, "We're not really worried about winning the initial press conference. It's about picking the coach we believe will help us win games. And social media doesn't enter into it. And none of that will matter once we're starting to play games. Message to our fans, we're very excited. We have the coach who's well equipped to lead us to the next winning phase of Steelers football." And that's what it's all about. I think they're going to love Coach Mike. And maybe we will, right? Maybe we'll all fall in love with Coach Mike. It's crazy, Coach Mike not being Mike Tomlin, but maybe we'll fall in love with Mike McCarthy. But I think the problem with the hire from the PR perspective is you could have waited minimum, which ultimately ended up being the minimum, 30 hours for Chris Shula or Nathan Scheelhaase. And Scheelhaase is now available, and so is Chris Shula. You could have, at the very maximum, waited really this week, because you have that little week in between the Super Bowl now and, of course, the NFC and AFC Championship, where you could have interviewed these guys. You could have gotten it. And if they went ahead and interviewed Chris Shula, interviewed Nate Scheelhaase, and they said, okay, Mike McCarthy's our guy, okay, it would suck still, but it'd be better than just completely neglecting them and negating that whole factor. And that's where fans are mad. And maybe he is the guy, Mike McCarthy, to lead the Steelers. He's on a 5-year contract. Maybe he develops Will Howard. Maybe they draft a quarterback with the 21st pick. Maybe they trade for one. Maybe they, I don't know, turn Mason Rudolph into the next Aaron Rodgers. I don't like the process, and that's where I think fans are more mad, and they're also mad at the fact that, they're going old, not young. That's the annoying part. If there's anything to take out of this, though, there is starting to become a little bit of positivity surrounding, Mike McCarthy, and we're going to have videos on it. He is a really good, I don't want to call him an offensive mastermind, but he's a really good, offensive mind, and that's something that he has experienced. Clearly, the Steelers didn't want to go with, I guess, the younger mind and risk the Chris Shula or the Nate Scheelhaase of the world. Will they bring in one of those guys as the offensive coordinator and like Nate Scheelhaase? That would be a dream come true. We have to wait until the full coaching staff is kind of developed to figure that out. But like this team right now, as it looks here, not good enough. The offense is brutal. Like it is abysmal. You have Jaylen Warren. Will you re-sign Kenneth Gainwell? Like he's probably going to get a payday somewhere else. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting either way. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Do you see the vision with Will Howard? Do you think Art Rooney's out of his mind? You guys are pretty sure.